got involved with the California Lawyers Association actually back in 2015 when it was a part of the state bar, and it was council of the sections and the sections of the state bar. And so I started out with the solo and small firm section, had a colleague that had recommended that I apply. I did. I got on the executive council, or XCOM as it's lovingly referred to as, and ultimately in that role, served as secretary, served as treasurer, and then vice chair. And then eventually what happened was the state bar began to do a split from the sections through the legislature and through the California Supreme Court. And I was a part of that process, and ultimately got appointed to the Council of Sections, which became the Board of Representatives. And then the Board of Representatives in that role, was the organization's first secretary. And then, of course, the organization's, I believe that would be the third vice president, and then also the third president, as I sort of continued to work for the organization and build it out with the rest of the leaders and the team. And then when my term was up in 2023, it's a 2-year term, I then became president of the foundation, which that term ends here in September of 25. I think getting to work with people and getting to know people, you really have to love people. And I do love people, and I love working with them, and I love being able to work through problems with them, solve problems, figure out ways to serve the profession. And I would say that's the sort of next biggest thing, is being able to serve the profession. And I think you have to love people to be able to serve the profession well. And so I think those are probably the two biggest takeaways that I've had, is the ability to work with people and appreciate everybody for what they bring to the table, but then also the ability to serve the profession and to make it better, and continuing to sort of make it be an honorable profession. My time as president of the association, and even before that as secretary and vice president, I really took every role very seriously. I don't know if I took myself too seriously all the time, which is a good thing. I think sometimes, really all the time, you need to be humble and you need to appreciate that approach to life. But I think that with regard to his secretary, it was great to kind of watch the organization grow and to be able to be a part of hiring its first CEO and being a part of hiring its second CEO and third CEO. So I've really been a part of the process of building an entrepreneurial organization, something that was new and innovative. So I think that's probably the first thing that comes to mind, is building something new. And that makes sense because in my life, I've always enjoyed that and building things. I would say the second thing is our ability to grow the association and to provide very practical things for lawyers. So let me give you an example. We've been able to create, sort of this advocacy arm. In the past, it was a little bit difficult to advocate when you were a part of a state organization. And so really seeing the folks in charge of that to build that out and being a part of that has been fantastic, to be a part of the legislative process. I also think one of the other big things that we did was we renamed the California Young Lawyers Associations, or CYLA, into the New Lawyers section, which I thought was more inclusive and gave new lawyers a seat at the table, which I thought was great. I think the other thing was we expanded our international and national presence from a branding perspective. That clearly opened up some doors for our organization and for our members. And I would also say that in looking back, I think there was, there was times where there could have been major controversy, and there could have been times where we could have had some major problems, like with any organization. But I'm proud that we were able to get through that without any major controversy. And it wasn't because we didn't take risk, it's because we managed those risks well. And so when I look back, those are some of my proudest moments, I think, in terms of the organization. And now I would say with the foundation, we've given away, over $100,000 in scholarships to high school and law students. We've started the CLF Classic, Fairways to Justice golf tournament. We held it at Pelican Hill in 2025, and we'll hold it in San Diego in 2026. And I will also say this lastly too. I've always been a big fan of dressing up and dressing the part and looking good. And I think in that sense, we started a gala back, I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago, and really a way to celebrate the profession and to bring people together. And I think those are probably some of the highlights as I continue to see that grow. And now it's turned into a charitable arm as we bring judges and lawyers together. And then maybe lastly, I'll say this. I think the starting of the California Lawyers Association Task Force was something I was very proud of. And then also serving on the Blue Ribbon Commission for the future of the bar exam and also on the Civility Task Force. I think those are some of the major highlights that I look back on and very proud that we were able to accomplish those things. I think as you look back on life, you can reflect and you can learn. And I think, you should be able to admit, maybe decisions that you would have done differently or things you would have done differently. And not in the sense of being critical, but in the sense of you learn from them and you grow from them. In many ways, it's not really a mistake unless you don't learn from it. And so I would say that in looking back, there's not a major decision that I can look back on and say, oh, well, we really messed up on that, or we didn't do a good job in that. But I would say that in terms of lessons learned, I think sometimes you get into a position of influence, either as an elected or as an appointed position. And I think that sometimes with people, there's a tendency to want to utilize that position for power or for influence or for setting an agenda. And I definitely think that an agenda is important, but I think you need to be flexible enough to be able to change with circumstances or change with with different problems that arise, right? And you have to be able to solve those problems. So I think keeping with your foundational values and your principles is obviously fundamental, and you need to do that. But I also think that you need to be wise enough to realize that you should not be the smartest person in the room, and you should allow people around you who are smarter than you to tell you when you're wrong or to give you good advice. And so as I look back on life and on the position, the time that I've been with CLA, which is well over a decade now, I think that I'm proud of the work that we've done, and I'm proud of the work that we were able to adjust to different markets, to different circumstances. And I think the lesson learned in all of that is the ability to be adaptable. Improvise, adapt, and overcome, as Clint Eastwood would say. Well, Jerry Milana, who works for the San Diego County District Attorney's Office in an HR role, is a fantastic person, a fantastic lawyer, and somebody that I consider to be a dear friend. And I'm very much looking forward to having and seeing her become the next president of the foundation. She is going to do an absolutely excellent job. She's compassionate, she's humble, she believes in the mission, and she's been doing it. She's been involved, and we've been working side by side for the last couple of years when she became the vice president. And I could not be more excited for her, and I could not be more excited for the foundation with her leadership. It's going to be a great time, and I will continue to be there to be supportive, as I'm sure the rest of the board will be. We have a great board that's very active, and we also have the California Legal Pathways Collaborative that we work with that helps us with the scholarships and organizing of the students. And that's just going to continue to be a great avenue to serve the community. And I know Jerry's going to do a great job as president. as I look forward, maybe I'll start with personally. I think personally, I'm looking forward to being able to take the knowledge that I've learned and continue to be involved in the profession, continuing to help CLA grow and CLF grow. I was talking to a colleague recently who was a past president of another bar organization. And, we had this conversation where it was like, we are now in the position of we need to be the deal makers in terms of making introductions, helping people out, and being facilitators in that way. So make the introduction and get out of the way. And I really do like that idea. Really do like, and I'm going to definitely dive into that as I look to continue to help grow CLA and CLF, from the sidelines or even from the stands, right? To me, it's however the organization needs me, I will be there to help for both the foundation and also on the CLA side. I think in terms of roles, I will still be on the foundation side for another couple years, running the charity golf tournament as its chair. But I definitely see CLA continuing to grow in terms of membership. I think to do that, it's going to need to be innovative as it's been and continue to put on great programming to offer great things for its members. I also think that it will need to continue to do the advocacy piece for lawyers and for the profession. These problems never get easier, they just get more complex. And so I look forward to being a resource to this organization's future presidents and leadership. As I look back, I would hope people would say that, would say the truth, that, and I would hope that sort of truth would be, hey, Jeremy was a good leader. He was a compassionate leader. He stuck to his principles, stuck to his values, and of course, was very helpful to the next generation of leaders and continued to give back and to stay involved and continue to lead and build a great organization. That I think I hope would be my legacy, as I look back on the organization and look forward. Well, thank you. That is the first and foremost, and thank you for this opportunity, to lead and to be a part. I think that was the biggest thing as a new lawyer, is to feel accepted. And, you graduate from law school, you have this knowledge, but you're really sort of yearning for a skill set. And so the bar associations is really where you get those skill sets and where you meet people and understand the practice of law. Obviously, in the practice of law, you get that as well. But I think there's multiple avenues will really make you a better lawyer and a more compassionate lawyer, an understanding lawyer, and have a broad perspective on things. So, again, I just thank everybody for the opportunity to be able to lead, to be able to serve. I think that leadership is such a special thing because it is finite, and that it does not last forever, and that you do have a time that you get to move on and you get to have had your impact. And that's what makes it special, is that it doesn't last, for eternity. And so I hope I've made a good impact and will continue to stay in touch and obviously always here as a friend and a colleague, and, not going anywhere, but, it's time for, new people to lead and new people to step up. And I think that's the beauty of the California Lawyers Association and of the foundation, is that, new people get elected, new people run, new people get involved, and you want new people to be encouraged and to get involved and people to join the organization. And so that's what I would say, is just thank you and, appreciate the opportunity, and, God bless all of you, and, wish you all the best, and looking forward to, the next event that we get to see each other.